I know what you're thinking. What happened to Jim and Debbie, and who are these people? Well, I assure you that I am Jim with a new old look, but Debbie's off this week. She's on vacation, so we have a guest host. Sitting in for Debbie is Colleen Conrad.
Hi, everyone. Big shoes to fill. I can't live up to the Debbie expectation, but I'll give the old college try.
All right. I was going to introduce you, just to add pressure, I was going to introduce you as the Incomparable CoCo. And I thought, I'm like, that sounds like a circus act.
It does. Sounds like I'm a gorilla.
It does magic tricks. You won't believe your eyes. So anyway, we'll just settle for Colleen Conrad.
I like it.
Yeah, thanks for stepping in to fill those big shoes of Debbie.
Yeah, no problem. I'm excited to be here. I am a weekly Midday Minute watcher, so I love being on the show, and this is just a wonderful opportunity to be here to host too. Excellent.
So today is Wednesday. This will air on Wednesday, and the Most Valuable Student application goes live on August 5th.
Can you believe it's already August? I think everyone's been saying, I can't believe we're already here. 2021 MVS contest starts August 5th today.
It starts right now. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about what's different for this new year, and then we're going to bring out a Most Valuable Student recipient who's had a remarkable journey as an Elks scholar. And we're going to introduce you to Jessica Carter.
I would say so. Yeah, Jessica's wonderful, and she's just like the pinnacle. She's everything we want in an Elks scholar and more. So it'll be a good conversation.
All right. So before we do that, we have a winner to announce, don't we?
We do. I'm excited to announce the winner. This is a fun part of this job. Debbie's lucky. All right. So our winner of the last Midday Minute contest is Mia Noel. Yay!
Congratulations, Mia. Now, Mia, she was one of the people saying I should not shave my beard last week in the comments. I'm sorry, Mia. I wish there were more of you.
Oh, I hope the $50 soft credit makes up for that. So, right. Mia, comment below or email enf@elks.org to let us know how you'd like to credit that.
Now, our viewers this week will have an opportunity to win another $50 soft credit simply by commenting on this episode with the hashtag ENF Midday.
That's right.
All right. Congratulations, Mia. So before we bring Jessica out, Colleen, why don't you tell people what they can expect, what's going to be different about this year's Most Valuable Student Scholarship Contest?
Sure, yeah. So this year, as everyone knows, is just going to be different for all students, right? I think for all high school students, we're going into fall with apprehension and not really sure how things are going to go. So new this year for our applicants, and most important that I want to bring up, is that we are waiving our ACT and SAT score requirement for the MVS and for the Legacy contest. So applicants for MVS and Legacy do not need to take a test. They do not need to report their scores. So that's the biggest news and the biggest change for this year.
And a lot of colleges are adopting that same position.
Yeah, that's right. I think it's up to like 1,400 across the country, with more, I feel like, each day announcing that they're waiving that requirement for admission this year. So we want to follow suit and make it as fair and equitable as possible for our current applicants who lost so much last spring and really are coming off of a tumultuous year.
Right.
Yeah. So something else. So that's the biggest change for our applicants. Otherwise, application looks the same. Our start date here on the 5th looks the same. We're extending the deadline, so our MVS application closes on November 15th this year, which is later than last year. We're giving everyone a little bit more time, which is great. And then a biggest change for our scholarship judges is we're bringing the judging in-house.
That is a big change, right?
It's a huge change.
And where and when can people learn more about that?
Yeah, so our new MVS portal opens on November 1st, and MVS coordinators, scholarship chairs, if you're involved with the MVS program at any level, head on over to our website at enf.elks.org/scholarship coordinator, and they can find all the information they need to promote the contest this year, and then also information about that new portal on how to judge.
So, and promoting our contest is one of the most important aspects of the position, right? Because you have the opportunity to help people like our guest win scholarships and go to college and change their lives, right?
That's
so
right.
Why don't we, without further ado, let's bring Jessica Carter out here and get to know her.
Sounds great.
She should be popping in right about now. There she is, Jessica. We are live on the Midday Minute. How are you doing?
Hello. Good. I'm happy to be here.
So, Jessica, you joined the ENF staff last month, right? Or was it in June? June, July? They're all blending together.
June 15th, I think.
15th? All right. Now, you were a 2015 Most Valuable Student. Is that right?
Yep.
So that was back in the dark ages when we still used paper applications. Why don't you tell people what that was like?
It was crazy. So I downloaded the form, printed it out, filled it out manually. And then back in those days, you had to physically take it into the lodge. And it's funny because I later found out that I submitted it to the wrong place. My lodge had just moved. They had just moved locations, and I took it into this empty building thinking that it was the lodge. And there was one man in the building, and I just gave it to him thinking he was an elk, and he must have been because I ended up getting submitted, but it was by pure luck that it got into the contest.
That could have gone south in a hurry, it sounds like.
I know. No.
I'm glad it didn't.
Yeah.
So, all right. And so you were, that paper application that you submitted and turned in sort of to Elgin Lodge, right? Elgin, Illinois Lodge. Made it all the way to the finals. You were one of the top 20 in 2015. It was our second leadership weekend, and you were one of the 20, right?
Yeah.
So talk about any memories from that experience that stick with you, any friendships you made?
Yeah. I mean, you become friends with all of the scholars so quick. It's a weekend where you're doing a lot of stuff and you just like instantly become friends with all the people there. The most memorable part of the weekend was probably Saturday afternoon night. We spent the afternoon at the VA Memorial Hospital, playing bingo with the veterans and having like an ice cream social. And then we went on a dinner cruise that night, and then we all came back. And I think we played games until like 2 a.m. When people had flights out at 6 the next morning. But yeah, you just become friends so quick, and we're still friends today. Like we keep in touch on social media, and then I probably talk to like 3 or 4 other scholars pretty consistently.
I mean, I think one of the things that probably surprised Colleen and me most about, we've experienced parts of all the leadership weekends, and it's how these 20 students come in and they're competing for these top 6 awards, but they sort of push that competition to the back, and they just sort of bond as people who have gone through similar experiences in different places. But right? Do you agree with that, Colleen?
Oh yeah, I totally agree with that. And I think too, even, we've talked about this year, the leadership weekend not being in person. And I think those connections, the scholars still made, our top 20 are all outstanding students, but I think most importantly, they're all very service minded. So I think there's something so powerful about being with a group of people who share those same values. So.
Right. So you won a $20,000 scholarship, which you took with you to Northwestern. But before you did that, I think my timeline is correct. One of the things we push at Leadership Weekend is trying to get involved with the Elks, and we share all these different ways that you can do that. And there was a new way that you could do that in the spring of 2015, and that was an Elk Scholar Service trip. We were hard at work preparing for our very first trip, the inaugural trip, which went up to Manistee, Michigan. And only 6 Elk scholars went on it, and you were one of the 6, correct?
Yeah, so it was really small, which is crazy because now I think there are like wait lists for the 20 spots that we have. So it's crazy to see how much it's grown. But yeah, we went to Manistee, and we were working with Habitat for Humanity up there for the week. And
what do you remember about that experience?
We sang a lot of songs. So I remember that. It was cool because there was a really good balance between working during the day and then getting to explore Manistee at night. So we spent the day installing installation in the house, and then got to see the Pictured Rock tour. We saw many a haunted lighthouse, got to have dinner at the local Elks Lodge. So there was a good balance, and a lot like the leadership weekend, you just grow so close so quick to all the other scholars. So you come from different places across the country and come together, and then you have this network of scholars after the trip.
Well, one of my favorite all-time photos that we've used in our collateral and promotional material over the years came out of that Manistee trip, and it was the 6 of you guys in the water of Lake Michigan. There's 2. There's one when you're facing the picture. But there's other one that I prefer is where you're looking out. So we see you, we're looking with you out into the horizon. And to me, it's like a perfect metaphor for our Elks scholars.
Yeah, what a way to launch such like a successful, program. And it's just so great that you were there, on the ground floor and got a chance to kind of be a part of something so exciting and so great.
Right. And we weren't sure quite how it was going to go. It was the first one. We got 6 people to attend. We were hoping for more. So it was, but it started so well. And we, the videos that came out of it were really great. And I think helped us promote it and build it. But then 3 years later, we're in San Antonio for the Elks 150th anniversary. And we had the concurrent Elks Scholar event, which we call 150 for 150. And you were there for that too, right?
Yeah. And that was really similar, like balance wise. There was part of it was service. So we volunteered at Haven for Hope, which is a huge homeless facility in San Antonio. And then the other part was getting to meet the other 150 scholars that were there. Yeah.
To me, the most amazing thing about that is that we went from 3 years, from 6 scholars doing one of these things to 25 times that number, right? I mean, it was huge. So, I mean, for the staff, and then also I think for the Elks who were there at that convention when all you scholars flooded that hall during the opening ceremonies, was just, that's a moment I'm never going to forget. And hopefully it was a similar experience for you guys, for the scholars that were making the moment for us. It was a cool moment for you as well.
Yeah, and seeing Sean Lucy charge the stage.
Was that Sean Loosely or was it Justin Timberlake? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I get goosebumps thinking about that. And too, I'm sure it was kind of almost like a reunion, right? You've been so involved from the get-go. You see people that, from your time on the SAB too, which we'll talk about. I'm sure it was just old and new faces all together, just all the good feelings. Just makes my heart so happy. Thank you.
Yeah, our friend Jay Little, I think who was the year after you at the Leadership Weekend, if I remember correctly, always refers to them as cohorts, the cohort that goes to the Leadership Weekend together, or these service trips. But it was, at 150, there was all these people coming together, and there was a lot of these old friendships, people reconnecting, and then new ones forged as well. It was really just, it was one of my favorite moments in my nearly 30 years with the Elks. All right, and so let's see. In between that time too, you were on the Scholar Advisory Board as well, right?
Yeah.
Want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So I joined that my freshman year of college, and there were 8 members on the board, and I was the 2015 representative. And in normal times, we would come together 3 times a year, twice virtually, and then once in person, usually at the convention. And you just talk about ways to improve the scholar experience and different resources that would help scholars during their times in college. So I think the best part of being an Elks scholar is getting to meet the other scholars. So it was cool to get to facilitate that a little bit.
Yeah. And so a lot of the stuff that we're doing today were really ideas that came from the Scholar Advisory Board. They're tasked with advising us on the best ways to engage our scholarship recipients. So we appreciate the work you did there. Now, you graduated in May of last year, and you were planning to do what? Why don't you tell people what you were planning to do and what happened?
Yeah, so I was actually scheduled to leave for the Peace Corps in March. March 15th was my departure date. And then on March 13th, the Peace Corps made the decision to pull all volunteers back home.
The world sort of stopped on March 13th.
Yeah, so unexpectedly. We had just finished our 6-week virtual orientation. And at that point, we were still planning on going out. And then the world kind of stopped the weekend that we were supposed to leave. That's when the office shut down and at the ENF and everything too. So I was going to be a teacher in Armenia. So I had fully learned Armenian. Well, not fully. I had done an orientation crash course on Armenian, learned the alphabet. But yeah, one of the things that I was most looking forward to was working with students. So I was excited that I was able to get to do that through the ENF scholarship department.
So one door closes and then another one opens. How did this all transpire then? I mean, you coming here?
Well, yeah. So it was originally delayed 60 days. And then we found out that it was going to be postponed indefinitely because they, like, for the first time in the Peace Corps history, they brought home all the volunteers from every country, which they've never done before. And they're probably not going to send them out at least for another year, a year and a half. So the biggest part of why I wanted to do the Peace Corps was to work with students. And I saw this position open at the Elks, and it was kind of a perfect fit.
Seriously, perfect fit, perfect timing. It's so funny, you know, things work in very mysterious ways, as you know, as everyone says, and I just can't believe that those stars had aligned. And we're just so happy to have you here. You hit the ground running, and you've been doing such a great job interacting with our students, interacting with our volunteers. And I know you haven't, you know, used your Armenian yet, but maybe we can talk about ways that we can work that in.
One of these days, I'm going to get an email from an Armenian person in the inbox.
We're going to need a translator, yeah.
There you go, exactly.
Well, Jessica, we're sure glad to have you on board as part of the team, and it's really cool. I think to be able to work with somebody with, you know, who was on the other end of the work that we do, and now you're helping us do it. So it's kind of a neat, you know, full circle story.
That's right, and yeah, your insight is invaluable since you've had all these experiences. So yeah,
I'm happy to be here.
Good. Yeah.
Is there anything you would like to say to the Elks before we let you go, Jessica?
Thank you. I say that every time I talk to the Elks, but the reason I wanted to work with students was because I wouldn't have been able to go to Northwestern without the ENF scholarship. So thank you again for giving me that experience, and I'm trying to pay it forward.
All right, Jessica. Well, thanks so much for taking some time out, and we are going to say goodbye to you, and then Colleen and I will wrap up. So
all right.
Take it
Bye,
easy.
guys.
All right, bye. All right, Jessica Carter.
Oh, I love her so much. She's wonderful. She's just like, I'll say it over and over again because I do. She's so great to work with. And it's been such a pleasure to see her kind of grow into this position already, and helping students and helping our volunteers. And it's been a joy.
And Jessica is part of our full-time staff now. She's a scholarship coordinator. And in next week, or the week after, I guess, you're going to have another former Most Valuable Student joining the team, another former top 20 finalist.
That's right. Yeah, we have Grace Roebuck, a 2016 top 20 national finalist, coming in to be our new Elks Scholar Fellow. So she'll be running all of the service trips, and her 2-year fellowship starts on the 17th. So I'm so excited to have her on the team. I think she's going to be just such a wonderful addition and bring like a fresh new perspective to service trips and to interacting with our scholars. And she's super smart and is going to do just, I think, a wonderful job. So it'll be interesting to see where we're at service trip wise. I'm sure we'll be back on the minute to talk about it as we, move through this pandemic. But
well, right, we lost the spring and the summer, and we'll see about the winter, but and the next spring, but certainly, hopefully by next summer, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
We'll see. I mean, we're not going to force it, right? We want to make sure that we're providing a safe experience for our scholars and the staff that goes along with it.
You got it. Safety is number one priority, and so as soon as we can be out there serving safely, we will. So,
right, and if we don't have service trips to work on, there are other ways the other things that Grace can be doing to help engage our scholars, and certainly this time of year there is plenty of work to do in the scholarship department.
That's right. Yes, we are busy, obviously, with the MVS opening. And even, we've talked about ways to engage virtually online. I know a lot of lodges are doing that right now. And so I think there's plenty of opportunities to bring our Elks family together if we can't be together in person. It's funny, Jessica mentioned, playing games into the wee hours of the morning for the leadership weekend. And even virtually, that's what they did this year too. So,
so the 2:00 sounds like a pretty light night. The one this year at the virtual leadership weekend went till 4.
Exactly. I was going to say that sounded, a little early, but
right.
4 a.m. this year. Geez. So, but I think that just speaks to, like Jessica talked about, you make such close bonds with your Elks family. And I think there's plenty of opportunities to do that virtually. And Grace will be great at being the leader in that. So
awesome. All right, so yeah, it's a scholarship time, and we got lots going on, and look forward to that. The MVS contest opens today. The Legacy contest opens next month. Things are happening.
Things are happening.
Another thing that's happening at the ENF is our Friday breaks with ENF staff. Every Friday at 10 a.m. Central Time on Facebook Live. You and Jessica just had one last week, right?
That's right. As it's funny because we look exactly the same. We were in the same exact position on Zoom, chatting about the opening of the MVS contest, and it was so fun. It was nice to see questions coming in, seeing Elks from all over, interacting. So yeah, cool opportunity that I certainly had a lot of fun doing, and I know Jessica did too. So this coming Friday we have McKenna, correct?
That's right, McKenna, and I think one of the backboard members, TJ Cahill.
Yeah,
Talking about his experience as a hoop shooter, and now as giving back through the backboard.
That'll be cool. I'll be there.
Yeah, and then Debbie and I are going to be doing it in a couple weeks. Do you have any tips for us?
Oh, that's a good question. I actually do have a legitimate tip. It starts way sooner than you think it does. So if anyone goes back to our Facebook page and watches me and Jessica start, we're both on our phones because we didn't realize it started. So action. As soon as it starts, don't be caught in a deer in headlights like Jessica and I were. So
okay. Good tip. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So Friday we got McKenna, and then on Sunday is our big hoop shoot show as part of the ENF Summer Series, ENF2U Summer Series. That's Friday at 5 p.m. Central on our YouTube channel. Check that out. We're going to have, Debbie and I will have our board chair, Jim Grillo. He's going to talk about his background in sports as an athlete and also about how he grew through the Elks. We're going to have a backboard member on. We are going to have 2 other past national hoop shoot finalists on the show. And then McKenna's going to join us, and she's going to announce what the season's going to look like in 2020-21.
I am so looking forward to that. That's a lot of great guests. That's going to be a great conversation.
Yeah, we hope to see you all there. All right, any final comments for our viewers, Colleen?
Debbie, I miss you. Come back. This was fun, but I think you do a much better job. So, but so happy to be here on the Midday Minute. It's always fun to be on the show, and I always look forward to watching every week. So nice job, Jim.
All right, thank you. And again, thanks for being our guest host. Best friend of the show, Colleen Conrad. All right, if you watch this episode, if you've liked this episode, give us a thumbs up. If not, a thumbs down. Either way, share it wide and far with your social networks. If you're not already subscribing, hit that button and tap the bell so you will be notified every time we post new content. Until next time, thanks for watching.